Oh,
Hey. You don't need that one.
good morning. My name is Betsy Cates. I'm your worship associate this morning. Please rise and bow your spirit and join in singing hymn number 196 in your great hymnal, Singer of Light.
Singer
Speak into the mic, Mike. Speak into the microphone, please.
You need to speak directly into it, otherwise we won't hear you at home.
Is this okay?
Well,
Yeah.
as close as you can.
Okay. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Whether you have been with this congregation a decade or more, or this is your first time visiting us, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homeland of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wappinger people. We have some announcements. Our annual auction will be held on Saturday, October 18th, and tickets are available now after the service. Tickets are $30 each, with a special discount for families with young children. Drop by at coffee hour and order your tickets for our biggest fundraiser of the year. We are always looking to create comfortable ways for us to meet each other and have good conversation. So today at coffee hour, look for a special table setup under the sign that says Table Talk. Table Talk is a fun, casual conversation starter activity that makes it easy to get to know your neighbors. So grab your coffee and a snack, and then pull up a chair for Table Talk. Let's connect. 3. The fall is here, and it's time to revisit community circles. Community circles are groups of 5 to 8 people who meet monthly at a mutually convenient time to discuss different topics such as gratitude and resilience. Participants have the opportunity to listen and connect with new people and ideas and to deepen their spirituality in a new way. Whether you are currently a member of a community circle or are interested in joining one, please look for the clipboard at coffee hour today and add your name and current meeting time preferences. Group meeting times may shift and new groups may start as people's schedules change over time. So please add your information to the list today. 4. Also, there will be a drop-in community circle taking place here in the sanctuary on Sunday, October 26th from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. This is an opportunity for new people to check out what community circles are like, as well as an opportunity for those with schedule conflicts on other days to attend. The theme for this month is Cultivating Compassion. Check this week's e-news for a link to optional reading materials. There is no need to sign up in advance or make an ongoing commitment. All are welcome to drop in on that day. And that concludes the announcement. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-newsletter and check our website frequently. And please join us for conversation after the service. If you are present in the sanctuary, please join us for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall. If you're watching the live stream, the link for our Zoom coffee hour can be found in the Saturday reminder in your email. If you were just recently joining us and would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uucroton@gmail.com with your name, and we'll make sure you're added to our e-news list. Also, please remember to silence your cell phone at this time. Once again, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation in the Hudson Valley.
It is my pleasure this morning to introduce our guest minister, Reverend Elizabeth, also known as Beth Putnam, is a member of the Fourth Universalist Society in the city of New York. That congregation ordained her in 2008, and she has served also as a chaplain in a healthcare setting for more than 15 years, and is exploring the next phase of her ministry. She and her husband Alex have made the Upper West Side their home for over 3 decades. Welcome, Reverend Beth.
I'd like to invite any of the children to come and prepare for the And today's invocation is from the Psalter. May all things move and be moved in time and in me, and know and known by me. May all creation dance for joy within me.
Today's chalice lighting is from Tim O'Brien. Stories are for joining the past to the present to the future. Stories are for those late hours in the night when you can't remember how you got from where you were to where you are. Stories are for eternity, when memory is erased, when there is nothing to remember except the story. Now please join me in saying our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Inspired by love, our mission is to seek our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice. We will now sing the children. No, you have time for all ages. Okay, let's do it.
I want to invite anybody who considers themselves as somebody who would like to be part of Time for All Ages. You don't have to be very far. I'd like to have a few folks come on the front, mainly because I have some questions for you guys today. I'm going to find out what you already found out. I may have something wrong, so I need to know what you guys found out. Because they changed a lot what they taught in school since I was in school. So I want to find out what they're teaching you. So, I assume most of you know that there's a holiday tomorrow, and therefore you do not have school. Yes, you all know that. That's good way to start. So, what is the holiday tomorrow that means you don't have school? Go ahead. That is the official holiday, yes. It is also, no, we'll talk about that, as it is too late. It's not official on the university calendar yet. We're working. Now, do we know why the name day for Christopher Columbus? Well, not only did he not discover it, you were to say that that's why Christopher Columbus got here? Yes. That's even more tricky, because I don't know. If you know this, not only did he not discover it because there were already people here, he actually didn't discover it at all. Because you know why?
He actually discovered the Bahamas.
Oh, no. He didn't discover the Bahamas. You know why?
He thought he was in Asia.
Yes. He thought he was in India. That's why they called the people here Indians. He thought he was in India.
There are also Vikings, like Greek Vikings that came down from Canada.
Yes. As a proud half Norwegian, I can say, the Norwegian Most of the Europeans got here first. They still haven't fixed the history books on that. But we didn't go back and tell everybody. Well, Columbus went back and said, I found how to get to India, and he was wrong. Do you know why we call the continents called North and South America?
Well, because the equator wants to be north and middle of
Well, that's why there's a North and a South. You know why it's called America? This is a toughie. Let's see if one of the...
America was the
And what did America was
technically was the first one to sail around the world, but he actually, well, not the first one, his crew was, but he was still by the Portuguese.
That's Magellan.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. That's all right. Hey, getting Magellan America Vespucci. So Amerigo Vespucci was the first of the Italian and Spanish discovery people who realized he'd come to a new place. And he landed in South America and said, this is a new continent. This is a new place. So they named the continent after him. Again, there were already lots of people there. But this is what I'm talking with the older people of all ages who have officially finished school, theoretically. You keep going back. I don't know, you'll never realize this, but at some point later in life, you may decide you want to go back. I don't know what happens when you get older and you decide these things. I've done it twice. But we're talking about how you take apart these stories we get taught, especially when we don't actually know the stories that have been lost. Because unfortunately, if things didn't get written down, and there wasn't somebody to keep telling the stories so that people would remember, a lot of them get lost. And so there are breaks in the stories. And we're trying to find out something we can learn through what are things, ways we can find about the past when there's nobody to tell us. One free, yes.
history textbook.
Well, the history textbook's already been written by the folks they think they already know. You need to find out something new. Well, not a random cave, but yes, they go digging. Archaeologists go and study and try and find out what's left behind. Well, the museum's already been put together by people who already been doing the digging and the telling.
Your problem solved.
Only if you go to a really good museum. I know we do need to end, but I will say, if you have not been there, the Museum of the American Indian, which is the new biggest, second newest museum in the Smithsonian. This is, the African American Museum. But my youngest sister studied archaeology. And she says what's great about that museum is it's what they call a postmodern museum. It's not telling you what the story is. It has lots of things for you to go and try to figure out what the things tell you, including having big giant drawers. I mean, they still have plexiglass. But like, you can just pull out a drawer and there will be like 50 arrowheads in there. You can just look at what's different about all of them. And they'll tell you a little bit, but then you have to start figuring stuff out. It's kind of cool that way. So there you can go see the stuff they dug up, without them having to tell you what it all means yet, because they don't know yet.
And the objects tell a story.
Yeah, they do. You can, I won't go much on, but like you can tell an awful lot by how something got made, or what type of rock they used it to chip with, how tight are the edges. Really cool. But you'll learn that later. So, I know you're going upstairs, you're going to be working on the same stuff we're working on down here, how you get to new stories and see what children have.
celebrate with one another. We bear sacred witness to each other in this honored ritual. As we begin our candles of joy and sorrow, we know that there are both great sorrows and great joys in our world that must be acknowledged as well. We light our first candle to honor those in pain, victims of violence and war and oppression all around our world. We light a second candle because we understand that amidst all of that pain, there is also celebration and joy in our world. We honor that joy and sorrow are woven together. For some of us here today, this has been a week of life-changing joy that needs to be uplifted in this worship. For others, this has been a time of deep pain and sorrow that needs to be shared to make the burden lighter. If this has been such a time for you, I invite you to come forward to light a candle and to briefly tell us of your joy or sorrow. You may also raise your hand in silent community.
Hi, I'm Betsy Tomic, and one thing in my retirement I'm trying to do is find more joy in life, and one of the ways I'm doing that is I'm going to volunteer to be a tour guide at the Metropolitan Opera. And yesterday was my first training. The way you train is you literally go on 5 tours and sort of see how it's done. And plus I have a manual this day. But it was really fun, and I'm hoping this will be a great thing for me. Thank you.
I'm Danelle, and one of my kind of concern from my younger sister who had a stroke last year and has been gradually deteriorating. Yesterday she had a massive stroke and she's now in intensive care and I'm waiting to hear probably not going to be good news.
So this mic goes up and down for people of different heights, just so you know. So I'm Ann, and I actually have 2 joys today. My first one is that yesterday my husband and I went to go visit my son and daughter-in-law and 7-month-old grandson, and he changes daily. And he's doing so much and crawling around, and he's a happy little boy, and that was a huge joy to be with them. And my other joy is that my youngest son, Nick, who grew up in this congregation, he's been a struggling actor for a number of years now, and we're going to see a movie that he made this coming Thursday. It's in the New York Short Film Festival. It's doing the festival circuit, which is the road to the Academy Awards. So fingers crossed. And he's also got something else new going on in his life that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. But hopefully I will soon. So, thank you.
I would like to light a triple candle, actually. I'll do the joys first. Joy number 1, I brought a little visual. Last night I was really thrilled and privileged to attend the Eleanor Roosevelt Banned Book Awards for bravery in literature. And the honor this year was given to Margaret Atwood. And she was there in person, and she, at 85 years old, was one of the funniest, sharpest, wittiest people. It was like being among royalty. It was so beautiful. And Yeah, there's just so much important work to be done. See me, I got lots of swag. Second joy is that today, between 4 and 6 o'clock, at the Hudson Valley Books for Humanity, there's going to be a sketchbook art show, and I'm going to have a sketchbook featured in that show with portraits of people who came to the bookstore. So if you're free between 4 and 6, come and get some art. There are 10 talented sketchers, and I hope to see some of you there. The concern, my husband Peter injured himself quite badly last week at work. He's been basically unable to walk. Since Tuesday, we are on our way to looking for answers and finding out how to get him to heal. But please keep Pete in your thoughts.
Hi, I'm Julie, and I have I have two ways. One is, believe it or not, I'm really out of the sling, but I really need it every now and then. So this is my 6th week after having a new shoulder replacement. So the joy, though, is that Jim doesn't have to drive me everywhere. And it's my joy too, because, you know, I'm sure you know, Ganelle and others know that when you can't go somewhere on your own, you know, it's a little frustrating sometimes. The other joy that I'm going to share is this week, I went into about 5 different senior facilities in our area as a League of Women Voter Volunteer to help voter registration, update new addresses, apply for absentee ballots, and it's just such a joy to see so many older people, and I'm one of them myself, who just so appreciated the help. Yeah.
We light one final candle for all those joys and sorrows that remain unexpressed, and for those outside of our walls who are searching for a place to bring the wholeness of their lives and be received with love. I invite you to join together. Join together in this time of sharing, but also just together here. And those of you who have joined us on Zoom, come to this shared space because the world can be overwhelming for any of us. We see war and violence, storms and illness, events that feel so far beyond our control. That's because they are. But that does not mean that everything is outside of our control. It's very hard sometimes to be in that space. So we join in prayer and meditation. Hope you may find some comfort, some peace and some solace, and some hope in the gathering here, whether in person or virtual. We lit candles and shared some rolls on our hearts and minds. I invite you to hold those in our spirits as we meditate on their sharing within a gathered community. I invite you each to feel yourself in your seat, to feel your breath, to also notice that you are seated near another person, maybe on your side, before or before
who are also breathing. You may close your eyes, you may leave them open. Just try to have a soft focus. And notice your breath. And notice that you're not in silence. There is breathing all around you. You're at home alone. No, we are here. You can focus on your own breath while also hearing other breaths. Please just keep your ears open to this gap. Focus on the process of how the air enters our body. Our bodies move and swell and release. If you focus on your own breath, you hear other breaths. Be aware that we are breathing together, breathing together. And that all of us here have different struggles and triumphs, different sorrows and joys. But we share the space and the words and the air. We share with one another. Feel the connections that extend between all people in the space. Connections of caring, of presence, of breath, of history, the timeless of this moment. Underneath those connections. Just breathe in. Breathe in. As you focus on your breathing, focus on the feeling of that breath coming out of your body. Your body in this space, the other bodies around you. Bring your focus back to the shared community. And you open your eyes, or focusing just on self-focus. And turn to full presence in this worship space. As I close this time of meditation, I hope you treasure and reflect on what you found. I hope you found some peace, some connection, and take that with you to share as you are able. Blessed be, and amen.
Just so you know, the audio's fine. The camera's frozen, so they're hearing it. It's frozen. I don't want to reboot everything, so I'm online trying to.
Our reading today is by Black Elk of the Oglala Sioux. Grandfather, Great Spirit, once more behold me on earth, and lean to hear my feeble voice. You lived first, and you are older than all need, older than all prayer. All things belong to you, the two-legged, the four-legged, the wings of the air, and all green things that live. You have set the powers of the four quarters of the earth to cross each other. You have made me cross the good road and road of difficulties, and where they cross, the place is holy. Day in, day out, forevermore, you are the life of things. Hey, lean in to hear my feeble voice. At the center of the sacred hoop, you have said that I should make the tree bloom. With tears running, O great spirit, my grandfather, with running eyes, I must say, the tree has never bloomed. Here I stand and the tree is withered. Again I recall the great vision you gave me. It may be that some little root of the sacred tree still lives. Nourish it then, that it may leaf and bloom and fill with singing birds. Hear me, that the people may once again find the good road and the shielding tree. Now please join me in singing hymn number 5, To the Great Window. It is something to have.
Sorry. This thing's a fucking disaster today. This camera's been frozen for 40 minutes. It's done frozen. Can't fix everything. Sorry.
We are gathered here to recognize Indigenous Persons Day, a day to lift up and recognize the people, cultures, and history of the indigenous people of these lands. We've heard earlier about the people whose name this once was. Unfortunately, it's not a history that we can tell. The reason for this observance and its timing is about undoing a history. And it's a history that most of us have learned growing up. As the kids reminded us earlier, for most of our lives, this was Columbus Day weekend. I was raised with the story of the discovery of America. It's hard to put that archness of quote fingers into your voice. Even though, as we learned earlier, the first true discoverer officially was Amerigo Vespucci in the history books. And part of this observance is to break through the lies of discovery, the lies of the conqueror. The tales told by those who came to conquer the people and take the land for its riches. It's the lies that most of us were taught as history. And once again, there are battles raging in school boards and states all over this country over the teaching of history. Because how history is taught shapes the stories we each believe about ourselves, our families, our nation, and how we all fit or don't fit together. Here in this room, each person has a different story of how they came to be here. And those of us Zoom have even more stories. Not just into this community, or into this room, or onto that computer, but how they are placed in this world because of their ancestors. Some among us may come from an indigenous community with histories that have been hidden by the dominant history and are now being slowly unearthed, reclaimed, and shared. Some among us traveled to these lands recently and have a relative newcomer's connection to the history of America. Others among us had ancestors who were brought here by force and enslaved. Others who came through desperation, fleeing grave threats. And some among us had ancestors like mine who believed a story they were told by a new land and a chance to live a new world. Some of our ancestors came to a land of new opportunity that had largely been made. Others came from families like mine who made this faking world by taking the land and hiding their taking in the myth called America. I come from one of the early settler families, at least on my dad's side. I get the half Norwegian part. I'm always second generation. That's a newer immigrant. Got cleaner hands. They're not perfect. But on my dad's side, my youngest sister's been working in the family genealogy. But especially we've been keeping an eye out for the way we look at the family stories, trying to break open those colonizer stories and how they told about their coming to the land. Each generation of our family moved to an area that was considered for most of this nation's history to be new land. Started in and it was just too long. We couldn't find them all. To even share an abridged list is too long. Just know that I stand here on Indigenous Persons Day as a descendant of the people who came here and took the lands, who fought and killed to take those lands, who negotiated treaties and broke them, all to build farms, houses, roads, forcing people from their land and pretending they were never here. Because that was an important part of history, pretending they were not here. I share this not to reflect on my family, but to reflect on the history that we've been taught and the process of its writing. When we speak of the removal of Indigenous persons, the removal occurred after fighting, after lies, after force, and threats of extermination. And while trying to remove the people, those who built this nation also sought to erase their culture, their history, and their identities. Because if we can erase it for them, we can surely keep it hidden from all of us, whose story is not. I was rereading sections of Ronald Taki's A Different Mirror, A History of Multicultural America. I was struck again by the way those in the English colonies had different goals in dealing with indigenous persons. One was, of course, to gain new lands. As more people came or were born here, they needed more land. And so they would just take more land. There's also a theory that we were here to civilize the savages. The first people could theoretically stay if they could be taught to live as the new colonizers. If they became Christian, spoke new languages, wore new clothes, lived in a new style of house, engaged in commerce and farming the way the new people did, and gave up everything of their own traditions, then they could stay. But while this was cited as an ideal, any failure to conform by those who had been granted the right to stay was enough to remove the people anyway. And it set a pattern for plans and projects for future generations. The elimination of indigenous culture altogether. A few years ago, you may have heard about boarding schools in Canada whose lands were finally searched after stories of abuse were finally investigated. What they found there was terrible. But the goal of the schools was also terrible. To take the children from their parents before they could learn their language and culture and teach them the new people's language and culture. To teach them, in Canada had an opinion, but we had them here in America too, and we taught them how to be American. Here in America, they were federally established and funded schools that were run by religious groups. So this includes the American Unitarian Association, which established multiple boarding schools for the purpose of acculturating children from the native culture to the dominant white culture. I can't detail the full history here. The longest existing school under Unitarian administration seems to have been the Bond School in Montana, which sought to educate the Ute children to white culture. And this was not a short-lived goal or a fringe one. It's even sooner in history than we think. In fact, in 1909, then AUA President Samuel Atkins Elliott was appointed to the Board of Indian Commissioners by then President Taft. He gave speeches such as, "From the scalping knife to the canopy," about the goals of this education. With his arguments on how important it was to assimilate Native peoples. I'd like to thank the Harvard Square Library for making parts of the Unitarian Universalist historical record available digitally. I'd also like to thank the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition for sharing so much of this history to raise awareness. Because that awareness must come before there can be any beginning of healing. The communities and families are harmed if such healing is possible. So in observing Indigenous Persons Day, building historical narratives to battle that traditional discovery myth is part of the work that the UUA and Unitarian Universalist foundations have taken to start dismantling oppression. But this one is very tricky because, as we talked about when the kids were here earlier, still many of the stories were lost. It's not like there's a hidden textbook somewhere that will tell us what the other side of the story is. You know, part of having to dig into and find a real story. So it's a struggle. There's still much to be done to even find the truth and to bring to light. And to ensure that those who seek to continue to tell those stories do not get to control what is taught. Some of you know about the small actions we can take to support Indigenous persons in their struggles for recognition, to protect some of their lands, to begin to tell their stories. Some of you support fair trade with indigenous people, which helps provide for healthier communities. There are many small actions we can support. At the same time, it can feel impossible to heal or make amends for a wrong that's right. But even an unearthing of the truths cannot be done until we join in these moments and acknowledge what was lost, what was done. Not to feel guilty about it, but to know it. To begin to understand what that means about how our country really came to be. And not to hate America, but to know what America really is. It has been, but also what it can be. What it could be. So in seeking to support the truth, to share the stories, these are important steps in a journey we cannot predict. We are building a future history. We don't know what that story will include. We can only be part of the struggle to make it include fewer lies and more truth. So I ask you to just delve into your own stories. Find what is in, reveal some truths. If you can find spaces to listen to other people's truths, that is one of the best places for healing to begin. So may it be. We're joined in our closing hymn, which is in Teal Hymnal, 1057, Holy God. 1057.
Each week we make an offering from the bounty we are blessed to enjoy. We do this in the spirit of love and generosity, aware that we have benefited from those who have gone before, those who in their turn gave generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by this community. Today's offering will also be shared with the Loft. The Loft is dedicated to advocating, educating, and celebrating the diverse LGBTQ community through a wide array of programs and services. Please refer to our e-newsletter or website for more information. You can make your donation in several ways. If present in the sanctuary, you may give cash or a check to the offering plate as it comes by. From your homes, you can make your donation via credit card or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter or by visiting our website, UUCHValley.org. Or if you prefer, you can always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Please join me in the dedication of the offering. The words are in your order of service. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. Now please join me in extinguishing the tax. The words are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
It's so good to be with you again. I will close with a blessing in the Apache tradition. May the sun bring you new energy by day. May the moon softly restore you by night. May the rain wash away your worries. May the breeze blow new strength into your being. May you walk gently through the world and know its beauty all the days of your life. So may